How's it going, guys? I happen to have another battle against a subscriber of mine off of my Twitch stream that I did around a week or so ago. He's got a lot of mega potential on his team. 3 of his things could go mega. I don't know what they are yet, but I literally just looked at my box and I was like, well, I haven't used this combination of 6 yet. Just because I kind of wanted to freshen things up like I always do. So, grab some dudes and just put them together. You are noticing the Murkrow. If you have been around this channel long enough, and you recognize the hat, it is the same hat. It is the same Murkrow. We'll see how he does in this game. That's why I held on to it for a little while. But I believe he's going to lead off with his Roserade as I lead off with my Klefki. I'm not too concerned with this because I do happen to have a Rapid Spinner in the form of Excadrill, so he can set up all the spikes he wants, and because of the way Egg moves work, it turns out that Roserade can get Sleep Powder spikes and Toxic spikes on the same set. So I speed up this opening portion because I'm gonna get some spikes up, he's gonna get some spikes up, we're all gonna get a bunch of spikes up. I got, like, what, sub, screen, and then we just got all of our layers of spikes that we possibly could have. So there was like the first couple of turns, we're all completely good to go on that. I do predict the switch correctly, and I nail the Charizard with a T-Wave. And this was supposed to be his Mega, because you can see that it actually is a DD set, but he told me immediately after he sent it out that he forgot to put the Mega Stone on this thing. I'm fairly positive that the outcome with this Charizard still would have been the same regardless. I did paralyze it, so I'm not too threatened by it at all. Especially because paralysis on a regular Charizard or a Mega Charizard does mean that it does still have a 25% chance to not do anything, you know, just because of the paralysis. So it turns out that this thing is completely pointless. This is a Power Herb Magician set that has Solar Beam, but I'm not going to go for Solar Beam on this thing. And it just ends up dying. I didn't really expect it to do a lot. It got off a good amount of damage on Charizard, just stock. I might run this thing like Choice Specs or Choice Scarf instead. That could be a little bit more fun, but at the same time, Magician is kind of cool too. Maybe I'll make a Blaze one. I had Magician ones, which is why I decided to breed them. But it does grant me a safe switch into my Excadrill, so I'm just going to go for Rock Slide and knock it out. Either way, I did still want to go for a Rock Slide, predicting his Trevenant to come in. Earthquaking the Charizard would have been silly. If it was a Mega Charizard, it would have been a little bit more tempting because the Mega Charizard X has lost its flying typing. So, if I didn't want to miss Rock Slide or have the chance to miss it, I could have gone for Earthquake if it did Mega, but Rock Slide was still the better decision of the two because it would have knocked it out, had it hit, and it still would have hit the Trevenant for better damage than Earthquake. So I'm noticing that I'm noticing on my team, I should say, that this is the only thing that really doesn't mind getting burned. I've already set up all the spikes. It doesn't look like he has something that'll spin or defog right away unless I'm missing something extremely blatant. But for now, I can set up a light screen because my light screen wore out previously. I probably should have T-Waved, honestly, before I light screen, because now he's going to Phantom Force, and he will almost be able to take me out if I'm not mistaken, even though I am, I believe I'm max HP, max defense on this thing. But I decided I do not want to, I guess, leave this thing in, have it die. I do have a switch in for Phantom Force, and that happens to be Lil Hat. If you guys remember Lil Hat, he's back, and he's ready to fuck shit up. This is the exact same set. Max HP, max defense with Eviolite. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what Murkrow does, Murkrow is another one of these fun little prankster users that we have been introduced to since Gen 5. This guy, however, has the unique combination of having Perish Song and Mean Look, so it's a really good Perish Trapper. I say really good in that there's not a lot of other things that really do it better. In fact, I think he might be the only niche in this category that can Perish Song and Mean Look. I think the only other thing that does it relatively okay is, I'm thinking Lapras, and it's got like Block and Perish Song. You can run like Protect and stuff like that. I just have Sub Roost because I rarely ever run into Taunters when I'm fighting this thing. And I'm basically just going to rinse and repeat this whole process, run him out of Stone Edges, get to the point where I'm at a good enough HP where I can take 2 of his hits and then go for a Perish Song and stall out some turns in order to knock him out. So DDT-Tar can be pretty terrifying. And the other thing that's pretty cool about this generation is that the weather is only 5-turn set. So as you can see, the weather actually wore off, and I'm actually net gaining HP over the turns, which is really valuable, especially because I don't have any form of lefties because I have the Eviolite. It's the only reason I'm taking these hits so well. So I get to go for another sub. I'm just waiting for him to run out of Stone Edges or miss one. He didn't miss any of the Stone Edges. He also lulled me into a false sense of security right there. I wasn't counting the Stone Edges because when do I honestly ever count Stone Edges? People can honestly have that shit PP max as well. But I'm going to go for a crunch, or he goes for a crunch, so I go for Roost. And then he, I believe, is just going to keep going for crunches and stuff. I think it might get to the point somewhere around here where he predicts me and goes for a Dragon Dance, another one. but I'm still net gaining HP. It's not a lot, but it counts. It's like 20 HP per. I just need to get to the point where I can take 2 after a Roost, so I can go for a Perish Song immediately after. But if I get a defense drop anywhere along the way, I'm going to have to switch out, and I don't know how I'm going to handle Tyranitar. I will have to go for a Perish Song immediately and just go from there. But I did live that last one, and it turns out that he had 1 Stone Edge left the entire time, but he missed! He missed the Stone Edge, and I get to get away with this shit because I can definitely live 2 crunches even after the defense drop. And it turns out we're down to 1 Perish Song turn each, so this means that once I switch out, it'll be at 0. I'll just throw something in to die, which is why I hung on to my Klefki, which I forgot to mention earlier. But something will more than likely take a hit / have to die when you're doing this Perish Song stuff. And I figured, you know what? Hey, Klefki's burns at like 25% HP. A little over, actually, because it lived on 1. It took like 1 HP from Crunch. But hey, Lil Hat took something out. First Perish Trap of Gen 6. It was absolutely fantastic. So right here on the double down, I decide to go into my Murkrow right now because I know that he will want to go into his Trevenant to block my Excadrill from spinning away the spikes and the Toxic Spikes. I don't mind them too much for now just because my Murkrow is in fact still alive. I haven't been doing a lot of switching. In fact, Murkrow is forcing a lot of switches, so he's getting Spikes damage on his side as well. I ended up subbing right there because I didn't want to take a Will-O-Wisp from Trevenant. If he wanted to go for like Leech Seed or something like that too, blocks both of them just fine. I also learned that the Gardevoir does in fact happen to be Life Orb, so it eliminates that possibility of him bluffing on the fact that his Charizard did not have the Mega Stone, but he honestly forgot the Mega Stone on his Charizard. That's actually what happened there. So, Aegislash is going to come in, and I decide just to go for a Roost, and I'm also going to go for a Perish Song right here in case he happens to be the Swords Dancing set. I don't want him keeping that +2 for that long. The maximum amount of turns, if he wants to keep it in and let it die, he'll keep it for 3 turns. So right here I decided I do not want to take Shadow Sneaks or Shadow Balls or anything of the sort, and I completely spaced on Steel's resistance to Ghost again. This is like the hardest lesson to learn for me, that you will get knocked out by a Shadow Sneak if you send in your Steel type that is not primarily defensive, because it is neutral now. It is neutral, and it just completely died. So enter round 2, where I forget about something else really valuable to learn in Gen 6. Ghost cannot be trapped. In fact, you'll see next turn that the trapping move just straight up doesn't affect them. It doesn't say like, but it failed. It says it doesn't affect them because they can't get trapped by Magnet Pull. They can't get trapped by Arena Trap. They can't get trapped by anything. Anything that would keep them in. It just doesn't do anything, which is what really surprised me to see, that it actually... It gets knocked out. He could have switched at any point. I don't know if he just kind of spaced on that or what, but yeah, it just totally ended up dying, which is pretty cool. So, took one more knockout that I meant to. Definitely put in a good amount of work. Right now, I'm just Life Orb stalling for a little bit of damage, kind of trying to see what else is on this Gardevoir set. I've seen T-Bolt, I've seen Moonblast. That's probably all I'm gonna see when it comes to fighting this Gardevoir in the first place. I'm going to Roost just to get a little bit more Life Orb damage as well. I know I'm going to die to a Moonblast because it is super effective. Perish Trapping is not as good this generation, but someone did give me a Prankster Murkrow a little while back, and I was like, well, you know what that means. I have to do it. I have to do it. So, I also EV'd a Goodra very recently. It's a calm one, it's not an offensive one, but this is an Assault Vest set, so I figured, hey, you know what? This thing has a really good amount of special defense. I just EV'd it in HP, and I believe in special attack as well, but I'm really disappointed by how much the Moonblast does. But I guess that's how well I'm going to take it, especially when it's coming from a Life Orb Gardevoir and its stab and all that stuff. It's really not that bad. Maybe I had lefties and I completely spaced. I don't know. Something else I spaced on here. Ghost resist poison, so that wasn't going to kill him in the first place. I probably should have gone for a Dragon Pulse instead. I don't know how much more that would have... I think that would have done a little more. Probably would have knocked him out straight. But instead, I just end up losing this thing to the Trevenant because I space on the fact that, that Ghost resisted poison for a second there. So I was going for the super effective hit on the grass. But... just ends up getting taken out, which is fine. The Trevenant is now gone from the Shadow Force, or not Shadow Force, Phantom Force, and has like 25% left. So, I get to go into my, what's this thing's called? Tyrantrum. That's it. So, get some Toxic Spikes, or not Toxic Spikes damage, but I do get Poison, which means I cannot get Will-O-Wisp. And with that in mind, I'm going to fuck some shit up. I'm going to DD, and I'm going to take out as many things as I can. I'm completely forgetting what else is left. But I figure if I get one, and he's maybe got 1 or 2 pokes left, I can hopefully go for it and get a sweep going on here. or at least a little late game cleaning up, because I think this is my last dude. So get some Leech Seed, some lefties, and I just take some lefties, or not lefties, god, there's so many after turn effects, but just dies to a Fire Fang, which is awesome. And then I believe his last one actually happens to be Roserade. Now that I have a Dragon Dance under my belt, and I am Life Orbed as well, by the way, in case his Roserade was Focus Sash, like I tend to see on lead sets, it's broken by the spikes that I set up on turn 1, so I can just outspeed him and knock him out with a Fire Fang for the game. So that was actually kind of a fun match for me. It was a little bit of a long-winded one. I'm really glad no DCs happened or anything of the sort. But yeah, it was an enjoyable game. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. If you did, do me a huge solid and leave a like rating on this one today, because I have been looking at my videos as of lately, and I feel like with the subscriber count that I have, the like ratio to subscriber count, I'm not sure if people aren't getting my videos or they're just not leaving likes, like people haven't made Google Plus accounts or anything, but it's not as high as I would think it would be. So if you guys could do me a solid, I want to see how many of you are actually active out there and watching. It's just something that's been bugging me for a little while. I don't know, it sounds like kind of a jealous thing to be saying, but I feel like something might have happened with my channel, like the same way Blame Truths happened, where I'm just not getting as many active people on my channel as I used to, and because of that, I've actually been thinking about starting a new channel and hopefully kind of going up from there. But it's something I've been thinking about. I guess I'm just trying to ultimately see how many people I still have sticking around here. So I think that'll do it. If you guys want to leave a like, comment, subscribe, do your thing, that would be much appreciated, and I will definitely see you guys later. Goodbye.